Welcome to the Extended Cut Podcast, the one-stop shop for all your screen-based entertainment, news, views, and reviews. This podcast is going to be all about movies, TV, internet videos, gaming, anything you can do on a screen. My name is Baboon. I am a professional video producer and an amateur movie critic. And I'm joined by T.O. and J.C.
Hello, Baboon. J.C.
How's everybody doing today?
Doing pretty good.
I'm doing good. So, yeah, I think we're all doing good, honestly.
Well, I'm sure you're doing good over there. Over here, we're actually melting.
Yeah, we are.
Because apparently the AC broke. So
Yeah.
it's.
I don't have to suffer like that because it's probably pretty cool outside right now where I am. So.
Inside
too.
It's a disaster right here. So anyway, let's just go around the table.
Hello, my name is Tio. I've been in broadcast media for about 10, 11 years. And currently, right now, I just want to get into this podcast and talk about movies, videos, and other interests within the media spectrum.
Nice.
Hey everyone, this is JC, and I am a professional artist and also a comic book artist as well. And I'm also a big movie fan. So I like to do a lot of reviews for movies and pretty much just chit-chat and talk about them.
Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. I've been really looking forward to starting this podcast for a long time. I know everybody else has too. So let's get right into our topics. JC?
Yeah, so practically I want to get your guys' opinion because this has been floating around the internet for a few weeks. So I mean it's a little old, but I kind of want to see what your guys' thoughts are about Jason Momoa playing Aquaman in Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. So I guess we could start with you, Baboon.
So, well, my first question is, who is Aquaman? Because I am about as comic book illiterate as they come.
Aquaman is the character that everyone makes fun of in the Justice League.
Nice.
He's in the comics, he's the king of Atlantis. He's
I'm sorry, did you say Atlantis?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay, anyway, but he's the king of Atlantis. His father was what they call a land dweller or a surface dweller, and then his mother came washed up onto shore during a storm or something, and he found her, brought her in, baby making happened, and then Aquaman was born.
Wait. Okay, I don't know if we needed that much information.
Well, anyway, that's his origin. So, and then he found out that he could talk to fish and all that stuff. So, but I kind of beefed him up a little bit more. So then, because that storyline, what I just described right there, that's the storyline that pretty much just the general public knows. But in the comic books, the New 52, which are a reboot of the DC comic books, they really beefed him up a whole lot more. So he's not necessarily just some crazy guy who talks to fish. So he pretty much holds his own. I put him on the same level with, Batman, Superman. So he's actually a superhero. So he's not just a dolphin man or something.
Okay.
So.
I'm not too familiar with Aquaman, but I do know that I've seen Jason Momoa in a few things. The recent thing that I had seen him in was the Game of Thrones, and he was fine.
You mean Game of Thrones, right?
Game of Thrones.
Not the Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Okay, just checking, because I didn't know if that was a different thing.
No. So, him in the character of Game of Thrones, I thought he was a little stiff. So I'm hoping that he can translate much better in, as a character that he's supposed to be in, as Aquaman. So I'm actually curious to see what he will do with that character, because everyone interprets the characters differently. So I'm interested to see what he does with that. I know that he had done another movie prior to that, and it really didn't go over too well. So,
So was it the Barbarian?
yes, it was Conan the Barbarian.
Oh,
and he
okay,
didn't-
so that's where I know him from.
People weren't too thrilled about that either. Again, there are some people who are just very nostalgic about certain, movies
Right.
and such, so that could have also worked against him. I mean, honestly, I know him from... Actually, I remember him even further back than that, gentlemen.
Of course you do.
I remember him from Baywatch. Yes, I said it. Baywatch. That's where I remember him, come to think of it. And, so it's kind of like, for me, even when I saw him in... on the trailers of Conan the Barbarian and Game of Thrones, it was still kind of a stretch. So, I know he also has another movie that he produced with Lisa Bonet, who is Denise Huxtable's, for all those who don't know her by her name, or Kile Sun Moon, whatever her native name is now, because So yeah, I'm interested. So, JC, what exactly is it that you're looking forward to him bringing to the character as Aquaman?
Well, the biggest thing is, when you watch Conan the Barbarian, the movie sucked. Like,
Okay.
there's no denying that the movie sucked, but it wasn't because of him that the movie sucked. The movie sucked by whoever directed the movie, and it was poor writing. So that's the reason why. But as far as when it comes to bringing a much stronger charisma or something to the Aquaman character, I'm excited to see what he do, because the dude's not. His acting chops are pretty good.
Okay.
Like, if you just isolate him from the rest of the kind of garbage that he's been in,
Okay.
he's actually pretty good. So to see him kind of with his acting abilities to play Aquaman, and then also too. He's freaking ripped.
Yes.
So
he's a pretty tall. He's a big dude.
It's gonna be cool to see him.
Which is the most important,
Well, for the ladies. For the ladies.
Well, yeah.
the most
But
important
I think
thing
it's
for
cool
any
that you're supposed to be
superhero.
having this character who's supposed to be the king of Atlantis. And I think it's important too, because that's such a far-fetched idea. Like, it's so out there. Like, okay, so there's people living under the water. So if we're gonna get that, then at least sell us on it. So I think by getting someone that's as huge as him, and it's kind of like he's hecka intimidating looking, which is good, So I that's one thing I'm excited about, because if you've seen Man of Steel, Henry, when he was playing Superman or whatever, he doesn't look intimidating at all. Ben Affleck doesn't really look intimidating, even though I'm excited to see him play. But Jason Momoa just kind of looks like a character that could make those actors actually look like they're kind of like have to be kind of wary of him a little bit, because they're not sure if like how to I guess respond to him, because he looks like a beast. So yeah,
I
that's
think,
why I'm excited to see.
I guess the other thing that he could bring to it is that he is Hawaiian as well, and so he spent a good portion of his life growing up in
Under
Hawaii,
the sea?
just around the water. So
from underwater.
yeah, so I think that part he'll be able to play well with it. So we'll see.
Yeah, and he has Baywatch for a background.
Yes, he does. Yes, that's exactly what I remember him. And the first time was Baywatch. So yeah, I know that's cheesy.
You heard it here first, folks. Hawaii is under the sea.
Yes. We failed in school.
So JC, here's my question, because this is the thing that I see. This is the problem that I see with a lot of these third-tier superheroes that they're making movies out of now. Do you think that they will change his story in order to make it? It's really cheesy, right? So, do you think that they'll softball it, or they'll change it entirely, and will the fans even put up with that?
I honestly think they will. Now, here's the reason why. When you just listen to like Superman's origin story, like where he comes from, it sounds like, okay, that's really far out there. But Zack Snyder did an excellent job with making it believable. Like Krypton could really exist. That was probably one of the better parts of that movie. I like
Definitely.
the movie,
Definitely.
But I really enjoyed the Krypton scene because it just seemed so, for a comic book character, it seems so like different. You know, because there's always these superhero movies where they come out and like the guy, his origin story is like he was exposed to something and it gave him superpowers or something. But or for instance, like, I'm sorry to rag on this movie, but Thor, like the world he came from, it seemed very very made up.
It certainly didn't have the weight that Krypton had in the latest
yeah, and so that's
Superman
what I'm saying.
film, for sure.
If since we have Zack Snyder, who gave us that awesome Krypton, I'm pretty sure he could probably do a really good job making Atlantis like seem believable. Like that whole world, making it actually seem like there's people who, you know, like there's the surface, what they call the surface dwellers, and then underneath, and there's the people who live underwater. So I think if anyone's going to do it, he's the person that could probably make it believable. So,
all right,
okay,
yeah,
wait and see.
Yeah, we'll
wait and see. 16, got a long ways to go, but oh well.
Oh, is it that far out?
Yeah, because they're shooting. It's pretty much confirmed though, but they're shooting Justice League back to back. So that's why. That's more than likely that's the reason why it was delayed, because it's a lot less expensive to shoot movies back to back versus then ending the production and then starting again. So there's that, and then also too, one of the other things going around is that WB was waiting on confirming contracts with other characters, I guess, who they're going to get to play, like Flash, Green Lantern, the rest of the characters that are in the Justice League. So that delayed the movie up a little bit. So, because it was supposed to come out next year,
okay,
but they delayed it a little bit. So,
okay, all right. So Xmen. Anybody want to start?
Yes. I want to hear what you have to say, Baboon, because I remember I was talking to you about this before, and you seem like you kind of got thrown off overboard a little bit after you saw Edge of Tomorrow. So I kind of want to see what it was that kind of did that for you.
Well, okay. So I have a love-hate relationship with the entire X-Men franchise. I think that all the films are decent, and some of them are amazing. Especially character-wise, they seem to do a very good job in some of the films with developing the characters and showing you their personal struggles and all that stuff. This film, however, it looked like it was going to have that, and then it seemed like they just decided to go crazy with CG, because nobody really had much of a personal struggle or journey, other than I guess Wolverine had a little bit, and McAvoy's character, the Professor X, the younger Professor X.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had a great story, great struggle that he was going through, and played it really well. Mm-hmm. But everybody else fell flat, in my opinion, especially Magneto, young Magneto. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head. Fassbender. Yeah, he seemed to just really not be in the film. I don't know what was going on with him, but...
Okay, I was just going to say, I think a lot of things, because I heard someone else complain about that as well. But if you remember, I think it might be good to watch... Did you watch X-Men First Class?
Yes, I did.
Okay, it might be a good idea to watch that one, I guess, before you go into that one. Because the thing is that was the first time that we had seen young Magneto was in X-Men First Class, and that came out in 2000, I want to say 10 or 11. So it's been a while,
right. Yeah,
since we've seen him on screen. But if you actually watch the X-Men First Class and then Days of Future Past, then it kind of it makes more sense, because then you're like, okay, well, you're going straight from his character, what he was going through then, and now. The one thing that I thought that was a little bit, I guess they could have touched up on, is because immediately when you start Days of Future Past, I mean, Magneto, he's already in prison. So it would have been nice to kind of see a little bit why he was in prison. I mean, we know in the movie they were saying it's because that he tried to, or they were assuming that he was trying to kill John F. Kennedy, but they didn't really show any of that in the movie. They just talked about it. So maybe it was just. I think a lot of it they didn't have a whole lot of time because they had a million characters in that movie, so they had to pick the characters I guess that were going to be strong or key elements to the story, and just kind of focus more so on them, which happened to be Wolverine, obviously, and Mystique. So,
first off, I have issues with Mystique. I am not.
You have issues with the character Mystique?
I am not a fan
her
of
portrayal.
The person playing Mystique, which is actress Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence has one emotion, one face. And,
she has dead eye.
And it's the same face that you see in Hunger Games. It's the same. I mean, I haven't seen the horror movie that she did or the thriller movie that she did, but
I did. It was the same.
Jennifer Lawrence is not a great young actress. I liked the original Mystique in Rebecca Romaine. I liked her a heck of a lot better. I thought she owned the character. I thought she had range. And this is a person who went from being a supermodel into acting and was doing really well. Jennifer Lawrence is not a good actress. I think she overacts and underacts at the same time. So I really had issues with that. I really like Mystique. I think that she has a great storyline. My thing with this Future Past is Hugh Jackman was weird this time for me. He was just the medium in which they needed to go to the past. And then he literally was just, I feel like he was just like a guest host, like walking through while everybody else was doing stuff. It was kind of weird. I kept wondering, okay, so what's your point here?
Right.
Wolverine, what's your point here? And I'm sure the comic book itself is a lot clearer.
Well, it's very different because actually Wolverine doesn't even go back in time in the comic. Actually, the girl who sent him back in time in the movie, she's the one who goes back in time. But Hugh Jackman, the Wolverine character, is box office money, so that's why they switched it.
Right, of course.
Ellen Page, right? The character she played, Kitty Pryde?
Yeah.
I wanted to know a little bit more about her. I thought she was very interesting.
Yeah, and very well portrayed. I thought that her Ellen Page's performance was fantastic.
Yeah, she was.
For the very few scenes that she had, she was pretty.
Agreed. Stole those scenes, really.
Yes. I also thought that what is it? Her name is Bing Bing Fan.
Okay.
She was Blink. I really liked her too. I thought she was pretty awesome. So I mean, I wish that she was the one that would throw.
Oh, she was the one that kept opening portals. Yeah.
She was.
She had her power was portal gun, right?
Yeah, she was really good. I'm not sure why Iceman was in there, played by actor Sean Ashmore. I'm not sure. I really think that there was so many...
Probably because he was in the novel.
Yeah.
The graphic novel, and so they thought, we got to bring him in, even though he's just going to stand here and look concerned the whole time.
One of the biggest reasons that he was there, honestly, is because Bryan Singer was back on directing this X-Men, because he hasn't directed an X-Men movie since X-Men 2.
Okay.
And so this dude needed work? What?
No, I don't think he needed work because he's in that TV show The Following, so I'm sure he's doing fine. But he was part of the original X-Men cast, and so Bryan Singer wanted to bring that back.
Right. Okay.
So, but I mean, his character, I mean, really could have done without him. I would have preferred to see someone else other than, Iceman, because I mean his power is really not all that great. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know. All the things he was doing, like how he was like freezing the Sentinels and stuff. It was literally just for they were just money shots. That's practically all it was.
Right.
So
the other person that I could care less for is Storm, even though I really like Storm in the cartoon. Halle Berry also.
Well, once again, didn't really do anything in this, but stand there.
There was a problem with that.
The backstory with Halle Berry and playing the character Storm this time around was she found out that she was pregnant during the shoot. So she couldn't really do much. I mean, she was even struggling in those high heel boots that she was walking in. The other person that I really liked was
Dinklage.
Dinklage was good, but that's not who I'm thinking. The young man.
Dinklage was good, and I really wish they'd have given him a little bit more play. But continue.
Evan Peters, who I know from American Horror Stories, he was Quicksilver.
Is that the guy that becomes metal? No, that's Colossus. Who's Quicksilver?
Quicksilver was who could run super fast.
He runs super fast, and he was posing people. He's the one that got Magneto, helped him get Magneto out.
Yes, he was pretty funny.
I think that actor is an incredible actor. I hope that they use him again. He, like I said, I know him from American Horror Stories. Let me see if I got that right. He is in the American show American Horror Story, and he is incredible on that show. And I think, I would really like to see him again. But all in all, it was with X-Men Days of Future Past. There was just something missing in it. I thought that it could have been much better. And again, Hugh Jackman, I was just like, I'm not sure. I understand why you're in this for box office, but they could have at least written something
better for him to
given him a better purpose when he got to where he was.
Right.
James McAvoy, as always, I am a big fan of his.
Right.
I like him in the original. What is this show? They have a remake of it. Shameless, the original Shameless show from BBC, and he does an amazing job on there. So that's all I have to say about this.
So what did you think, JC? Just real quick.
My overall, well, here's the thing. I really enjoyed it. I honestly did. A lot of the reasons people, they were complaining a whole lot about it was going to be too crowded. I honestly think, even though some of the characters could have used more development, but for having that many characters in a movie, they did an excellent job with screen time. So I really appreciated that. And then I also appreciated that they were able to correct that stupid storyline from X3 where, because Bryan Singer didn't direct that one. It was, what's his name? I can't remember. But anyway, he killed off Scott and Jean.
Right.
Yeah, so I like that they were able to correct that whole timeline. So practically they're like, that X-Men 3 movie never happened.
Interesting.
So I kind of like it that they did that, and also they were able to erase that X-Men Origins Wolverine movie. So they changed that from the timeline as well. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed Hugh Jackman's character. I agree. Some of the scenes that he was in, he just kind of seemed like he was just kind of like the fallback guy.
He was like a prop almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of help support some of the scenes a little bit.
Right.
But I enjoyed it though. I enjoyed seeing all of the X-Men, some of the old movies, all back on the same screen and stuff, because it felt like an X-Men movie. Like the feeling you got when you watch X1 and X2. So I really enjoyed it. So it had its a few little issues, but I enjoyed it more than the Avengers, a million times more. So.
Oh, sacrilege!
Really? Yeah. I'm not gonna let that stand. Sorry.
I honestly think people overpraise the Avengers. I think it was good. I don't think it was that good though.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into that because that's a rabbit hole we will never recover from. But I think that the Avengers showed us what superhero movies really. I really feel like superhero movies got crazy serious and dark, and the Avengers took us back to a place where it's like, okay, it's a superhero movie, it's a crazy alternate universe, stuff's happening, it's fantasy. You know, it's dare I say, taking us more towards Transformers than, you know, The Dark Knight. And I hate Transformers, so I'm not going to go too far with that analogy. But I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right. So we've all seen also Edge of Tomorrow, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
You start this one, JC.
Okay. This was the first Tom Cruise movie I've liked in a while.
Okay.
It sounds rude, but most of his movies, it's like there's other actors in there, but you kind of forget because he's like, I'm going to put my face in every single scene.
Right.
So I felt like the other actors in this movie, they kind of stood out a little more, even though his face was still there. But I was really, 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 really hoping when I saw the trailers for this, I was like, I hope this is not another Oblivion movie, because Oblivion, I hate that movie.
Oh my.
Never seen it, but
Oh well.
It looked, it got very mixed reviews and
I'm still waiting for him to do something a little more original. I mean, Edge of Tomorrow was original, but at the end, it was still, the ending was still kind of the same as Oblivion, because there was just Oblivion, there was a massive, like this giant robot that took over.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler. But anyway, practically the same thing. It was just your generic sci-fi movie ending with everything is fixed because you can drop a bomb into something.
Right.
So that I was kind of a little disappointed at Edge of Tomorrow, but it was very refreshing for a sci-fi movie, because so many sci-fi movies, they just seem so repetitive, and I've just been getting kind of just burnt out.
I agree with you definitely on that one. Definitely burnt out.
I enjoyed it though. Might sound strange, but one of the biggest things that I actually enjoyed was the aliens. Like they were very different than we normally get. They kind of actually remind me of something that would actually be in a video game, which is actually cool. Because I think video games that have aliens in them, I think the aliens are much more interesting than the movie versions of aliens that we get. So I kind of like that, just like how fast they moved around and stuff. It just seemed like something that could have been in like Halo or something. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I also very much enjoyed it. Same. I'm not going to argue with you on the ending. It definitely. I was hoping. I was sitting there in the theater hoping they were going to go somewhere else with that, and then they didn't. The whole thing was very video game-like, though. And, I mean, just the whole story. I mean, you could take that movie and adapt it right to a game. In fact, it almost seemed like it came from a game. Just the whole respawning thing. And
yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a book first, but...
Interesting.
But it was definitely written practically like a script for a video game. So
yeah, no, I appreciated it. I mean, usually scripts for video games are horrible, but I thought that they did a great job. The director is amazing. Gosh, what is his name now? I'm blanking. He's good. He did Born Identity and Doug Liman.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely a fan of his, and I think it's underrated and underplayed, because it just seemed like it's, I heard it was doing bad at the box office. Does anybody have numbers?
I know it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I know it underperformed what they were expecting.
Right.
But that was not because it was a bad movie. It was because not enough people were actually getting interested for it. Like, the trailers weren't tracking very well. And that's just because the trailers were extremely boring.
Yeah.
There was just, nothing really... They had that, weird, little voice thing in the trailer. This is not the end, or whatever. I think it was too close to that movie. Do you guys remember that movie, Battlefield or Battle Los Angeles or something?
Yes.
Yeah, that movie sucked really bad, and I think they had the same song in that trailer, so people kind of were thinking, oh, maybe it's like this. So I think that kind of hurt it a little bit.
Well, I looked it up. Edge of Tomorrow here. It says the budget was for 178 million, and the box office was 318.7. So.
That's not too bad.
It's not bad at all. It's not bad.
Yeah,
it was.
That's its domestic run, right? Because it's the opening weekend, which is usually what they go after. So,
yeah. Well,
if it made, I don't think it made I think it made under 100 million in its opening weekend, and that's pretty. It's not too good,
right?
So I don't think any movie so far this summer has crossed 100 million. I think the closest was Xmen,
right?
Okay, and
then I think after that was like Godzilla or something like that.
Ugh.
But because the thing is the reason why it's so important for the first weekend is because these movies, they practically have one weekend to like be king of the box office, and then
right,
kind of let them ride that wave of success. Obviously you're going to drop, but the thing is like you have a big budget movie opening one weekend. It has to get as many people going to go see it as possible, because then the next weekend a bigger movie is opening.
Right.
So. And that's what unfortunately that's what happened to Edge of Tomorrow. There were too many big movies that came out after it and just crushed it. So,
right. I think it definitely deserves props. It's the best movie I've seen this year, and I thought that all the main actors really held the film up very well.
I thought Emily Blunt did a great job.
She was amazing.
Doing this role. I don't think I've ever seen her do any movie like this, actually. This was pretty hardcore. So usually she's a damsel, or she was in a Devil Wears Prada. So I thought she did a very good job in this, wearing that exosuit, even though you could tell that the exosuit she barely really wore the exosuit.
Right.
If you've noticed. The exosuit for me, the aliens, you mentioned the aliens. The aliens look familiar to me. I can't place it in this movie, but they looked familiar to me. The exosuit reminds me of the exosuit that Matt Damon wore in, what was the name of that movie?
Elysium.
That's what the exosuit. I think for me with this movie, as I was watching it, too many things reminded me of other sci-fi movies that I've seen. And not in terms of the storyline, it was original. But the props, the background, I was definitely looking all over the environment. And they were like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this movie. That reminded me of that movie. One of the things that I noticed is Tom Cruise trying to be funny.
Yeah.
That was just like, okay.
Wasn't working for you, huh?
It fell flat every time for me.
Well, Tom Cruise, he's not funny.
Well,
he thinks he is, but he's not.
Done it before. He's done it before. There were some other characters that he's played. He's done it before, and it worked. But this time, I think Tom had a little bit of problems flexing himself and not being Tom Cruise in this.
I know what you mean.
There were times when he was Tom Cruise, and it's like it was Tom Cruise being Tom Cruise, and I was just like, please lighten up. You being yourself, and taking himself a little bit too seriously in this role. But all in all, I think he did a great job. But yeah, I was definitely aware when Tom Cruise was trying to be funny. And I was like, The other person that I thought was really a star was Master Sergeant Farrell, played by Bill Paxton.
Yes, shout out to Bill Paxton for an awesome performance.
He was, spoiler alert, when Cage asks Master Sergeant Farrell whether he was American, or I'm paraphrasing here, and Bill Paxton's character says, no, no, sir, he's from Kentucky. That I laughed so loud. I thought that was how he delivered the line. It was really funny. So, but yeah, I thought it was a really good film. Definitely different. Emily Blunt did an incredible job. Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed watching it. I didn't feel like I lost hours of my life. So
Right,
it was
right.
good. It was good.
Okay.
Okay. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's next on our list, right?
Well, yeah, that's what we have up next.
I am super stoked actually about this film all the way around. Right from the beginning, I thought this is a whole nother world for Marvel, and I think that it looks incredible. It's different, it's interesting, and it's gonna be just I think it's gonna blow the doors off of everything else this year. I really do.
I think that Chris Pratt is. I'm interested to see how he's going to not do slapstick comedy. I think, I know him from Parks and Recs and other movies. I think it'll be pretty good. I don't know how well they're gonna do in terms of sharing the screen with the other casts, because it's a pretty heavy cast. You have Zoe Saldana on it, Bautista in it. You have, what's the gentleman from?
I know who you're talking about.
Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper's
Yeah.
in it. So it's
Well, you never see him. Only his
his
only hear
voice
him.
and Vin Diesel's voice. You have G-Mon, but I don't know whether G-Mon is just Hansu is just in the trailer, because you just never know with these trailers. So
Right.
I don't know. I was definitely, as the song said, I was definitely hooked once I saw the trailer. So I don't know. It's one of those movies I could tell it'll either do really well or really bad.
Right.
And I think you could correct me if I'm wrong here, JC. Are they trying to weave this into something bigger?
In a way, yes, and this this is my biggest problem with it. It looks fun. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it looks like a fun movie. But the problem is, it's like, where do you draw the line with Marvel connecting all their movies? Because here's the thing: at the end of Thor 2,
Yes.
the after credit scene, they showed the Warriors 3 or whatever, that little group or whatever. They went and then they gave that object to I can't remember his name right now, but the dude with the white hair.
Yeah, the Collector.
Yeah,
right?
The Collector. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, they gave it to him. The Collector is in Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, the problem is they're already connecting those two worlds, because if you think about it, when you just saw Captain America, the Winter Soldier, which was awesome, to think that they're still in the same world as, not world, but universe or galaxy.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Imagine you're watching Captain America 3 or something, and then Rocket Raccoon shows up. Like, no. And the thing is because in Guardians of the Galaxy, there's going to be a character played by Josh Brolin, who's playing Thanos. Do you guys remember the after credit scene in the Avengers, that purple alien dude that looked at the camera?
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Well, yeah, so he's like the big baddie, and he's gonna have a small part in Guardians of the Galaxy, but supposedly he's also gonna be the villain in Avengers 3.
Right.
So I feel like they're doing too much. I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy should just be its own thing independently, and it still might be, but it's like you have to draw a line of being able to connecting these movies, because after a while it's just going to start to not fit, because my personal opinion, I already think Captain America was too serious for the rest of their movies.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
Agreed.
Yeah, and so if you have that tone of it being like that serious, and then you're going to possibly open the door for a walking tree and a raccoon to possibly show up and help out
Right.
Captain America or something, it starts to get a little like, okay. And then not only that too, but then you're wondering, you're like, okay, well, what is making these characters so special if everyone in the world is a superhero? But still, that's going a little too far off though. But the trailer though, I hope it does well. I'm kind of getting a bad feeling from it, though. I kind of feel like it might not do as well, and then it might be a smash hit. I think if the biggest thing is everyone knows that going into this that this is going to be a comedy, so that it does have that on going for it.
Right.
The thing is, like when some people watched Iron Man 3, the promotional content for that, like the trailers and everything, they were made to look extremely serious, and then you watched it and there were like a ton of jokes in that movie, so a lot of people had mixed feelings. But where I feel like Guardians of the Galaxy, it's going to be an action comedy,
right?
So hopefully that will get more people to actually go see it, instead of like, oh, I don't know, is it an action movie or is it
right.
Because some things I feel like I don't want them to try to. Because so many movies try to mimic like what Christopher Nolan did with like the Batman, so they tried to make all of their superhero movies like dark and stuff. And so I was hoping that they were going to go for like fun kind of feel with the Guardians of the Galaxy thing. But I'm still.
Well, they clearly have.
Yeah, I'm still not sold on it yet completely, just because some of the lines. Well, if you notice, almost every single trailer, Dave Bautista has not had one line.
Well, I don't think he talks though, does he? I mean.
No, he
just smashes stuff.
Yeah,
we don't need him to say anything.
He's going to talk in the movie, and then also to Zoe. She has, I think, the newest trailer that came out. I think that's the first time she actually talked.
That's true. And it's a good observation.
It kind of worries me, because if you notice, a lot of movies when they hold off the dialogue from some characters, it's because maybe their lines aren't that strong.
Right.
And so, like, if you notice, they're giving everything to Chris Pratt. They're giving it, like, and also the actors that are a little more well known. But pretty much everything though is like Chris Pratt talking in the trailer.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked to me. And they're also letting mostly now it seems like Bradley Cooper, like the raccoon, talk more, which kind of seems strange that they would pick the raccoon to talk more in the trailer than the other two actors. And Vin Diesel doesn't count, because his character, literally in the movie, he doesn't say anything except "I am Groot." Like, that's all. Like that.
Yeah, I was wondering. I mean, well, does he say more in the film, or? No,
that's literally he.
Okay.
That's all. That's all the character ever says.
It's the Iron Giant turn Groot. Okay, yeah. Understood.
Pretty much.
Just use that for different expressions. Like, I think in the newest trailer, where they had like at the end the Rocky Raccoon, he was like laughing, and then Chris Pratt, he's all like, "Oh, that was so fake," or whatever. And then Vin Diesel's character, he's just like, "I am Groot," or whatever, and he's like, "Thank you." But it's like that's the way he speaks. So I kind of feel like that maybe that might hurt it. It's probably funny in the comics, but I don't know if it's going to translate onto film very well.
Right,
so we'll just see.
Okay, so with that commentary that you've just given us, so take that logic then and apply it to Justice League. Aren't they going to have the same? Isn't DC going to have the same problem Marvel has, kind of making all that crazy stuff from their universe actually translate on screen and make sense?
Well, here's the thing though that's different about DC than Marvel. DC Comics is pretty much dark all around. All their characters are. I mean, they have some lighthearted characters like Flash and Green Lantern, but still, they're pretty. They fit in very well with a dark universe, because everything, even the Superman storylines, like, they're darker. Obviously, Batman is very dark.
Right.
Wonder Woman's, her background, it's also dark. It's just, all these characters are very, like, there's not much humor to them. They're pretty much, like, serious. So as far as that, I think the thing here's the thing. What I'm trying to say, where I was complaining about Marvel, how like they have a character who's funny, they have a character who's serious or whatever, and they don't. The movies aren't merging well. So the thing is with DC, all these characters are pretty much all on the same note. So therefore, like their movies, they're going to be able to flow. They're going to have a better flow to them, I think.
Okay.
And then also, too, a lot of it comes off of like what I was saying about Zack Snyder, because Zack Snyder's directing, he's directing the one that they're filming right now, Batman vs. Superman, and then he's also directing the Justice League movie.
Right.
So, and I know a lot of people don't like the movie, but I enjoyed it. But Watchmen, but that also goes to show that he's really good with balancing characters. Because in that movie, I felt like all the characters had like amazing screen time, like being able to break it all up in between each character. So yeah, so I think they'll do fine, but their stories, their origin stories, I think as long as they're kind of like how they did with Man of Steel, like with Krypton and stuff. If each character is developed like that, I think it will be fine.
Right. Okay. Well, good enough then. So, the Expendables.
I don't know. I just feel like these. They look entertaining, but I would never pay to go see one of these. This is literally just like, I'm bored and I'm going to turn on Netflix.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, definitely. This is fan service, right? At its highest or maybe lowest level.
It's what everyone wants to see. All these action legends in one movie. It's kind of like what
Legends is stretching it just a little bit.
They want to see every supergirl in one movie. So it's practically the same thing. But I just wonder how many of these guys are they actually going to be able to put in before it just starts. I mean, it's already feeling ridiculous. But I'm wondering how many of these guys can they cram into one of these movies before it starts to hurt their own careers.
Right.
Because eventually I start to feel like it could if they continue, I feel like it might turn into a joke in a way.
Well, I've heard that this is one of the problems that some people who, once they saw this trailer for the Expendables 3, they said, it used to be, okay, the joke was Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, I'll be back. Now it's like they're in on the joke, so they're like, okay, I'll be back, and so people are just like, it's played out.
They're parodying themselves.
They're parodying, exactly. And so people are like, okay, this isn't, the franchise, they're making these movies because people are buying it. Like, I'm looking at the statistics here for Expendables. It cost $80 million to make, and they did way over. At the end of the day, they had $274+ million.
Right.
So that is definitely a lot. The second one budget was $100 million, and again, at the end of the day, when they were done, box office was $311.9 million. So clearly
they're tripling their money every time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you think you're saying, hurt their careers. I don't think for them they can hurt their career.
Right.
Because they're like, they're seasoned actors who's been there, done that. They're not looking for Oscars or, they're not. This is literally for fun.
The reason why I say that, though, is because if you look at the last couple of movies that, say, for instance, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that he's done solo movies, they have done terrible.
Yes.
They have done really bad. So that's what I'm saying. It's practically only like these guys, they're making all this money off of these movies, but on their own, they're not doing very well at all.
Well, I think Arnold's a bad example. I think Arnold's issues have been, he's been governor of California, and then he had an affair with the help.
Well, even Stallone, some of the movies that he did after he's kind of come back from retirement, they haven't been incredible.
Stallone's not a good actor either.
The other two, Jason Statham, he was practically like, he has like a kind of like a cult following for his type of movies. There's a ton of them on Netflix.
Yeah.
But I can't think of the last time when someone's like, "Oh, Jason Statham movie's coming out to theaters."
Right,
like everyone flocked to go see it.
But that see with Jason Statham, that is his thing. He is that B-list actor. That literally is his thing. I heard an interview with him, and that's his thing. When Guy Ritchie found him, he wasn't taking this acting thing seriously, and he's still having fun with it. So I think for him,
he was a stuntman, right?
He was a stuntman, yeah. He was a stuntman. So I think, again, I think the Expendables, you know, I'm just glad Wesley Snipes was able to get a job after doing time.
Right.
I was so happy.
They were breaking him out of prison in the new trailer, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
right.
you know,
Like, he was locked up
more power
That's
to him.
awesome.
Wesley Snipes is getting work. We've got Mel Gibson getting work. There are some people in this movie that I'm like, why are you in here? For example, Harrison Ford. Why are you in this?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Antonio Banderas. Why are in this? Why is Zorro?
Right.
That's
In
why,
this-
because there's no more Zorro movies.
Why is Zorro in this movie? I mean, there's Kelsey Grammer.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Why is Kelsey Grammer in this movie? Why is Frasier in the Expendables 3?
Because reasons.
So, you know.
That's why they're like, oh, there's a female actor. Maybe we can, because it's mostly guys going to go see these movies. So they figure they're like, oh, if we put a girl in here with the guys, I'm sure all the ladies would like to go see the girl going up against with all the guys and stuff. It's honestly, it's marketing. That's all it is.
You know what though? I think I don't know about anybody else here, but there are some movies that are so bad they're good. And the whole Expendables franchise is one of them for me. Just like Transformers is one of them for me. Transformers.
Oh, you just lost major points.
Transformers is one of those movies. It's so bad, it's good. You know. So
I will watch anything. I will watch a million Expendables movies. Like, I can stand them. I can tolerate them. I cannot tolerate Michael Bay.
right. Hey, I'm with you 100% on that. I mean, Michael Bay has done one or two things that I think of as being halfway decent films, but
The Island, that was pretty good.
it wasn't bad. Yeah. I mean, it had some really good sequences in it, and he's that guy that you go to when you want to just, spend a lot of money. That's who he is to me.
and blow up stuff.
Right, exactly.
And exploit women.
Right. Well, we could bash Michael Bay all day, but let's move on to The Judge. Okay, so I had not seen this trailer before today, so I don't know how I feel about it. Anybody want to start the discussion on this?
Let's play a little bit of it.
The infamous Hank Palmer. The jaded lawyer with no respect for the law. Did that just happen? How does it feel knowing every person you represent is guilty?
It's fine. Innocent people can't afford me.
Okay.
He's doing the Iron Man.
Okay, so essentially, Tony Stark is a lawyer, and
Yeah.
his mother dies, and so he has to go home and deal with his crazy father.
Yeah.
Well,
My biggest problem with this movie-
his dad here is a judge.
Right.
And so-
hence the name of the film.
To me, it looks like a good movie. It really does, especially towards the last I don't know, maybe minute and something within that trailer. It looks really good. I honestly want to see it.
Okay.
But that's saying a lot for me because I can't stand Robert Downey Jr. And the reason why is exactly why, what you see in the beginning of this trailer.
Right.
Every single movie he's in, he's Tony Stark. Every single thing. And at any moment, you could have taken that footage and you could have cut it in with any of those Iron Man movies, and it
Agreed.
would have fit just
Agreed.
perfect. So you know how Tio, how you were saying Jennifer Lawrence has her acting ability. I feel the same way about Robert Downey Jr. I feel like he can act, but he can only play Tony Stark.
Well, I think with he started becoming Iron Man before Sherlock Holmes, when he started doing Sherlock Holmes. I've actually seen him in other stuff. Zodiac, he's not like that. When he played Charlie Chaplin, he wasn't like that. Gothica, he wasn't like that. So I think he's basically giving the public what they want by putting on Iron Man, which, I mean, a lot of people are saying Tony Stark's is Downey Jr., Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. So,
right.
I have seen him in other characters. I just think that, I think he's kind of giving the public what they want, and also maybe he's being lazy. He's like, hey, I don't really have to do anything but show up. Too.
Well, here's the thing. Too. Here's the thing. His older stuff, he was different.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, it was right before he had played before he got the role for Iron Man, his career was dead.
Yes, for several reasons.
The thing is, the Iron Man character revived him and got everyone talking about him. And so, I feel like now he's like, whatever movie I'm in, I have to play
Sherlock
this
Holmes got people talking about him again. The Sherlock Holmes, yeah. Iron Man, he became like one of those, you had, what's that rock band under him that they use in the Iron Man soundtrack.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's not ZZ Top. I forget what it is. And it's like now when you hear that music, you think AC/DC. When you hear AC/DC, you immediately think Iron Man, Downey Jr.
Right.
Right. I definitely hear what you're saying, JC, about him. That kind of put me off too when I first saw the part of the sound of the trailer for the judge. I do know he's an incredible actor who definitely can draw you in by acting.
Right.
And I think he's gonna. I think he probably started off, and also, maybe he started filming this before around the same time of Iron Man. So, maybe that's what happened. He was still in Iron Man
mode
when he started the movie. But again, I do know that I've seen him in other things, and he is an incredible actor. I mean, the man was able to do tons of movies and be always lit on crazy drugs, and I think if you've ever seen Chaplin, which is an old movie, that's when everybody realized, oh my goodness, Robert Downey Jr. can actually act. He's not just a clown,
Right.
So, with the judge, I think, I don't know, it's kind of mixed, I think it's definitely meant for a different crowd. It's not meant for young people. It's a family movie. So it's one of those. Okay, I think because people associate him with Iron Man, I think that's why the movie is going to suffer.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to suffer. It's going to be judged wrong. So
I'm not sure if I see what you did there, but I don't know. Here's the thing with him, like you said, those older movies, like, yes, he was acting back then, but I wish he would just go back to doing that, and I don't think he's going to. And so now when he's in like a drama movie like this, it's like all you see is Iron Man versus like Hugh Jackman. When you see him acting in another movie, you don't always feel like he's acting like that's Wolverine, because he changes.
Right.
Well, he could do that because he's a theater actor. First and foremost, that's what he always.
Right.
That's what he identifies himself as, a theater actor who does movies. It's a completely different ballgame when you're in theater. You have to become whoever it is when you're in theater acting because you don't have CGIs or anything like that.
Right,
you are taking people on an imaginary journey. So. I think those two are apples and oranges in terms of the actors, but I definitely agree with you with Robert Downey Jr. I don't know if this movie's gonna work.
There's just other actors, even aside from Hugh Jackman, that are to do that, where they understand. They're like, okay, I played this character well, here's a good example: Christian Bale. Christian Bale, he can play pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you see him in another movie, you're not like, hey, there's Batman. You're like, there's Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Versus now when you see Robert Downey Jr., you're just like, there's Tony Stark. There's
Yeah.
Tony Stark upset. There's him happy. There's him,
Right.
sad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the one thing that could possibly hurt him. I feel like the Iron Man role was so huge, it may have been a kind of a bad thing in a way. Because it's almost look how long it took for Ben Affleck to get away from Daredevil.
Well, Ben Affleck had to create something for himself.
Wait, say that again?
I think Ben Affleck probably had to create something for himself.
Right, he moved into directing and producing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
he moved into directing because he was stuck in Daredevil.
Yeah, but he's also a really good actor now. I don't know if you guys have seen The Town or Argo, but he was amazing.
Well, The Town is not a far stretch because the man is from Boston, Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, I mean...
Argo, good.
We have not... I haven't seen Argo. A Baboon hasn't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it either. I do know that I've heard people joke about, about the people that are playing, the characters that are playing real life people, and they're like, when you see the real person that Ben Affleck was playing, they're like, really? They couldn't find anyone else to play.
I saw that as well, and I thought that was a little disrespectful.
Well, it's Hollywood. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what they do.
At the same time, I saw people who were getting upset about that. I was like, well, did you really expect that that's what
was he the one that produced it? Did he put money in it? I feel like
directed.
He did. Okay, so he
Affleck
directed it.
directed.
Okay.
Yeah. And got the Academy Award for it as well.
Yeah. So I think maybe that was probably the only way the movie could have been made anyways. I don't think people think about that. Maybe it was one of those, it was in the contract, well, the only way this movie is going to be made is if you direct it. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, usually directors start the process. So they're the ones that find a script, this is my project, and then they start, hiring actors. And in his case, he's just like, I'm going to be the lead because...
Well, to get, Hollywood
director.
to say, okay, we will,
Right.
Maybe he had to do that. I don't know. Maybe not.
Who knows?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, because he's a golden boy for WB, so practically he's almost like I'm not saying their directing styles, but I'm saying as far as their status, he's like Christopher Nolan, where he goes to WB, he says, I want to make a movie, they say, what do you need? That's practically it is, because he has a new movie he's doing, Gone Girl. These are his pet projects that he wants to do himself. He got an Academy Award for it, so whatever he's practically doing, WB, they're going to just give him the money to do it.
Gotcha.
The same thing with Christopher Nolan as well, because he originally, I'm not sure, but I think there was something that was going on about the Batman movies, but he was also like, I want to be able to do my my other movies, which he has the Interstellar movie.
Yeah.
So he had Interstellar and Inception, and those were just ideas. Those were not based off of books or anything. Those were just literally his ideas that I guess him and his brother came up with that they wanted to turn into movies. And WB was like, well, sure, you're Christopher Nolan. So it's the same thing with with Ben Affleck. So it's not like he's not looking for work. He does what he wants to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Our final movie trailer, I guess, is the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I guess I'll start this one. I enjoyed the last film, which was Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. I thought it, had everything you needed for a good film, a good sci-fi film. But the only problem that I have with all of this, I feel like it would be better if it wasn't tied into the Dawn of the Apes, quote-unquote, franchise.
Mm-hmm.
I just really feel like it could stand alone. It doesn't have to have that name in order to be there. And I feel like you could go to better places if you weren't tied to prequel. It's a prequel, and so everybody knows where this is eventually going because everybody's seen. Most people have seen Planet of the Apes, the the old school version.
Mm-hmm.
So I really feel like this, like a lot of other movies, it's weighed down by the weight of its franchise. I don't feel like it can live up to the expectations that people have for it, and it's really stifled story-wise by the fact that it is a prequel. So you can't kill off anybody that's important. You can't you can't do all the things that you want to see in a good film, because it's got to eventually end up fitting back into the story with, that we all know.
I think for me, I actually am looking forward to the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes because it gets better every time. I liked the first one, and I thought it was well done, despite Franco was in it. So with this one, and looking at the trailer, and I saw some behind the scenes stuff, this one is mostly shot outdoors to give it more authenticity. So it'll be interesting. I like a movie, if they're going to use CGI, they're going to use where it's needed and not just completely blanket the whole thing with CGI.
Looks pretty CG to me.
Well, obviously the apes are. You know what I mean? But the environment,
right.
It's mostly shot out in the open, out in nature.
It's not completely green screen.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I think that every time I see it, it's getting better. So that's why I'm looking. I actually think this one is going to be even better than the one before. I think it'll do really well. And one of the things that I like is the fact that they completely erase the Mark Wahlberg version taste from everyone's mouth and mind.
I had forgotten about
Everyone
that. Yes.
forgot about that. Everyone. I think the actor Andy Serkis, who's also known as
Gollum.
Exactly.
Yes.
Has completely changed the game when it comes to, first of all, these kind of motion
capture is what he does. Yeah, he's incredible motion capture.
He's invested in it now,
actor.
and this is what he does. He's an actor, and the business that he does is motion capture, and I think he's definitely taken this whole story into a whole different place. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think the story looks even more solid, and if it doesn't do well, it's the writing. I think visually it's going to look very good, because I thought Rise of the Planet of the Apes, visually it looked good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It looked really good.
I thought it was really good. I thought Franco did a decent job, but whatever with Franco. But I think it'll be better. I think every time I see anything Planet of the Apes, it just gets better and better. And I like I said, I like the fact that they decided we're gonna shoot this mostly outside. So the forest is real, most of it is, and they got you some of those parkour guys to do the ape.
Yeah, they did.
So I don't know.
The more parkour in film, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
So
I'm not excited really for this movie.
Of course not.
Well, let me give my reasons. I feel it's too soon. Not as in making a movie, but the movie goes off, the last one,
Rise.
Rise, yeah. Okay, so Rise, when it goes off, the monkeys, they all went, or apes or whatever, they all go across the bridge, and then they're on the little island or whatever, and the movie goes on. Now, it looks like the apocalypse. No one lives in the cities. There's moss all over the buildings. I feel like maybe that was a little too rushed.
Gotcha.
I feel like you didn't have to jump to that extreme first. Like, I would have liked to see, because in the last one, we practically just saw the way society was reacting to these smart monkeys, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of that, like how society would be dealing with them now, like as knowing that on this island we have a threat to us. But,
right. Another species that could challenge human dominance on the planet.
Yeah, but now it looks like it looks like Terminator practically, like the the
post-apocalyptic, and yeah.
everything's too gone. It looks like people are strapping on magazines to their feet for tennis shoes, and
Right.
just, it has that feel to it. And I just feel like it was a little too rushed. I just think they could have done more with it. Now, I just because I'm not super excited about it doesn't mean it's not going to be a good movie, because it does look good. If you ignore the whole timeline that I feel is missing, if you ignore that, it looks great. In some ways, even though I wish that they would show more, I'm kind of glad that they're not going to spend a whole lot of more time with James Franco's character and the monkey.
Right.
Just because I don't think there is enough of that. I feel like they wrapped that up really well in the first one.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's just, for me, it was kind of just a little, it threw me out of it a little bit when I first saw the trailer, and I just see like the city is practically empty, and I just feel like they skipped too big of I feel like there's a lot of good content that could have came out of the first movie and ran into the second one.
Gotcha.
That's my biggest problem with it, and I'm not too big of a fan of the apes riding horses, but
Oh, come on, man.
Speaking of that, I actually wanted to talk a little about that, a little bit about that. And I think one of the things that I noticed creeping up with this was the idea of evolution without talking about it. Mm-hmm. It's very. I think the trailer for this really puts it out there.
Well, I mean, that's the point of the whole series, is it not?
Yes,
but
yes
even
and no.
I think, and yet subtle way, even more so, like highlighting it.
Yes, I think that definitely is a part of it, but I think there's a PETA part of this too. There are several messages to this,
right.
But one of the things that I noticed with the last the one that they had before Rise, and then watching the trailer for this, I mean, he has more words now. In case you didn't realize in the trailer, Caesar has more of a vocabulary.
Right.
It's clearly more than just no, which whoever does the voice, which I guess is Andy Serkis, he does the voice too.
Oh, I don't know.
Whoever, if it is him, I mean, just incredible. When Caesar just goes off.
Right.
You feel the anger, but it's I'm interested in seeing the discussion around Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, because the evolution message here, aside from how you treat animals and people that are different and all that other stuff, it's there, but the message of the message of evolution isn't an undercurrent anymore. I think they're almost putting it in your face. So I'm interested to see, like I said, the discussions that's going to happen about this. And, because right now we're definitely at the height of evolution, Big Bang Theory, evolution, smart design, or however they...
You're talking about just the argument or the...
Yes, because this is definitely, like I said, the trailer, you see it, they're not even trying to, they're like, no, it's clear we've seen Caesar evolve and he's getting smarter and smarter. Now he's riding a horse, as JC said. It's like he has a cavalry. I think like I said, I'm really looking forward to this, because I think every time I see this, the story gets better. The actors get better. They got rid of Franco. Franco was...
so he's not in it at all?
As far as I see in the casting, no.
Okay.
It's Andy Serkis.
There's only going to be... they say he's not in the movie as for like him himself, like they're in person. They said the only thing that's actually going to be there is like they showed a part in the trailer where like Caesar had like a camera and he was like watching footage from like him and Franco interacting before.
Okay.
Which I think is smart.
Yeah. So
I see.
But I think for the third movie they do, they're probably going to have it to where the humans finally die off and then the monkeys take over, and then someone's going to have the the virus that gave the monkeys, that gave them their ability to be smart, and then they'll give it to the horses, and then it will be Rise of the Horses.
No.
Right. Rise of the Planet of the Horses? All right.
No.
Rise of the Pegasus.
Right. Nice. All right, cool. Well, next on our list, a couple weeks ago was the season finale of Game of Thrones, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out about how awesome this season was. It was, it was just, you know, all the issues that they've had with the previous seasons, and I know you're not caught up, JC, but all the issues they had with the previous seasons are just taken care of in this one. I mean, every episode was straight on awesome. They kept the sex position. They kept the sex position to a minimum,
Great.
which I appreciated. And it's you know, the action. They finally delivering on the action that they kept promising in all the previous seasons. So.
That's what I was looking forward to. That's what I went to see more action, because there's so much talking, which I understand. It's a story that, you know, is
there's like 10 billion characters that have to get their dialogue in. So
yeah, it's very story driven, but still, I wanted to see some action though. And they had more action going on with their sex scenes than they do with their sword fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
well, they definitely took it. They definitely upped their budget for this season and really gave it. You know, they gave it what it the impact and they gave it the budget that it needed in order to really sell it. And I was really pleased. You got to catch up, man.
yeah.
One of the things that I like about Game of Thrones is that the dialogue between those who have read the books and those who have not. And I really like that the creators of the show have made it that even if you don't have background to any of these characters, you can still enjoy the show. Now, having said that, I think if I read the books and I watched, Game of Thrones, I think I'd have problems with shortcuts and rewriting and characters that they introduce, because I just, I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing people who are like, okay, I don't know who this person is, or people are, and again,
it's very hard to follow.
And again, maybe that is the genius of the show, that they're even keeping the book readers on their toes, interested to see, okay, what else is going to happen.
Definitely.
I was reading something. They said they purposely did that because they, for one, to also to keep people from being able to just spoil everything for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then also too, I mean, it pulls in more a bigger crowd, because then they're like, oh well, you think you know the story, but you didn't see this coming.
Yeah.
So then when you have nerds coming up to people and they're like, well, did you hear about the blah, blah, blah? And then they're able to not be so nerdy.
Well,
it's more universal, I guess. So, which is good, because not everything that is adapted as a book first should be done the same way when it comes to either movies or TV. So.
I completely agree, 100%.
Now, JC, are you a book reader?
No. Okay. Unless it has to be something really interesting. Like one thing that kind of, like, on this same topic, but just different movie and book, but was the Hunger Games.
Okay.
The second book, I was very delighted actually when I watched the movie, because they cut a ton of stuff out of the book, which was completely just extremely boring if you had to read it. So, and I feel like they're probably doing that too with Game of Thrones too. They're cutting some stuff out. They're like, okay, it might be good for the book, the book nerds, but the average person that's going to be watching this, they don't care about this stuff.
Right.
So yeah, so I think it's good that they're doing that. It keeps the show fresh, I think, without it feeling bogged down So I think it's a good thing.
It definitely is. As a book reader, I can say that it's definitely not boring. They managed to change just enough of the details to where they really make it work, and I'm very, very, very happy with it. So, Tio, do you want to tell us what you're into this week?
What I'm into this week is this BBC show called In the Flesh. And In the Flesh for me is a wonderful concept of flipping around the zombie genre. So In the Flesh is a quick summary of it is this young, this area in London, in England, I should say, where they had this whole zombie apocalypse, but somehow they were able to come up with some kind of formula to reverse people from being a zombie and to go back to being a live human being. So where the first episode takes you is from literally the infirmary, where they are rehabbing these zombies and integrating them back into society. And I find it very interesting. I think the characters thus far, I'm not too familiar with the actors. I tend to lean...
Because it's a British show,
It's
right?
a British show.
Yeah.
It's in, I don't know whether in the States if they're airing it.
Right.
But it's a really, really, really smart show. The characters are being fleshed out. I'm just starting this, so the characters are being fleshed out, and so far so good. It really is. You have those who are, again, you have the two banks, those who are for the rehabbing and those who are against the rehabbing because they're afraid, because so many people had died, and they're also afraid of, the in-betweeners turning back into zombies and infecting everyone else. So you have that kind of dichotomy happening in there. But In the Flesh, it's a great show. If you could find it, watch it. And you could probably YouTube and see BBC 3 trailers for it. It's a really smart show. It's a fresh idea. I like that, again, the whole zombie idea is being flipped the other way. The what if we could rehab zombies, back into being human beings again. So it's really neat. It's really neat.
Sounds interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen the first episode as well, and it's definitely different. And if you're used to the same old zombies, this is a whole paradigm shift, and it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yes.
JC?
Well, I had 2 listed, but I actually think I'm going to skip those. This week, actually, I think I'm probably going to be doing a lot of House of Cards.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that show, I'm really into a lot of like politics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just right up my alley. Kevin Spacey is just each episode. He's just so.
He's amazing. That's all you need to say.
Yeah, that's the best way to say it. He's really amazing. But everyone in that show, everyone is so real. Everyone doesn't feel forced or rushed or anything. Everyone seems like they don't feel like actors. They feel like this is their job. This is what they really do.
It seems very much like a documentary. Like this is really happening in Washington.
Yes.
Yeah, and which is what I like, because they do, even from small little things like showing clips of like news and mixing it in with their show. Like they do such an excellent job. And then also too, when Kevin Spacey's doing his little narrating when he looks at the camera, like some of those are the best moments.
Yeah, they are.
I love it when he's talking about what he's gonna do, and then you see him do it, and then after he does it, then he like looks back at you. He's like, "I told you I would do it." I love it. It's awesome.
I like his side eyes. Like, yeah, whatever. Like those small moments that you see in real life when people are talking crazy and you're not buying it. I love his reaction to those people. So where are you with the series? What episode? What season? Well, yeah. Where are you?
I'm actually behind.
Okay.
But it's mostly just because there's some TV shows I'll watch a bunch of them just because I want to catch up. But those, I never watch them because I want to catch up. I watch those actually when I have complete full time to actually sit down and enjoy it. Because I would hate to rush through any one of those episodes because they're all so great. So I'm actually playing catch up right now. But are
you in season 1?
Say that again?
Are you in season 1?
No, I'm in season 2.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. So you're not that far behind then.
No, not too far.
Cool.
But one thing that I really appreciate about that show is one thing. This is just a pet peeve for me, but one thing that really irritates me in film and TV or whatever is when people talk to the camera.
Right.
That really irritates me. But this is the first TV show or anything actually to where Kevin Spacey, when he is talking to you, it doesn't feel strange. It actually it pulls you into the story more.
You're in on it.
It's kind of like reading a book in a way. He's more involved within it. So I really like that. I would like to see that more, possibly, if it's done correctly. But for right now, I'm just enjoying it with the way they're doing it. So
I think it's ruined. I think it's ruined any political genre for me, to be honest. There was...
it's true.
I saw the first episode of a show called Boss, and it's starring Kelsey Grammer.
Right.
And
as the mayor of Chicago, right?
As the mayor of Chicago.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's very interesting. But I'm just like, man, having watched House of Cards, any political show now looks weak to me.
House of Cards set such a high standard.
It does.
Yeah, it did.
Does. I even want to see. I'm interested in seeing the BBC version of it, the British version of
the original. Yeah,
because I hear that's pretty good too. But I think the Spacey factor and the American and Robin Wright is an incredible actress.
Definitely.
She does such a great job. But yeah.
No, I think that House of Cards is it's like a masterclass in how to do film. It really is. It's incredible. I can't praise it high enough. It's definitely one of the best things on any screen right now.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I don't like the whole fourth wall thing, breaking the fourth wall either, but they're doing it right here, and I don't. If this is how it should be done, then I don't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have a really nerdy pick this week. I've been watching this documentary on Netflix called "The Story of Film: An Odyssey," and it's like 15 episodes or something. It's incredible. It starts at the beginning and just goes all the way through, and they show you all these old films and the influences that shape our modern, our modern television and movies. I can't recommend it enough. It's absurdly interesting. I just get sucked in, and I don't even look away. It's really, really cool. So anybody who wants to check that out, once again, it's called The Story of Film, An Odyssey. It's on Netflix. I don't know for how long, but 100. If you care at all about film, how it's made, it's amazing. It really is.
Yeah, I'll probably watch it because I always watch behind the scenes videos for almost everything that I can. So I'm sure I'll enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like I said, can't pitch that to people enough. It's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. This was our first podcast. Thanks everybody who tuned in. We're hoping to keep this going, and we would love your feedback. Tell us, what you like, what you didn't like. You guys have anything to say? Questions, answers?
Just for the fanboys, don't get too angry for me hating on the Avengers.
There's gonna be enough hate to go around in this podcast. I can already feel that.
Oh, I know. I'm gonna get the Jennifer Lawrence fans.
yeah, you'll get some hate for that. But there's people who I'm sure agree with you. So yeah. I think we should probably also to let everyone know what to tune in for next time, as far as, because we didn't cover all of these video games and stuff that we're going to go over.
Yeah, we're going to go over next time. We'll have some more trailers. Probably we'll touch on some more movie stuff, but we're going to try to hit on the highlights of E3, which is the entertainment, the Electronic Entertainment Expo, I believe. And they had a lot of good games come out this year. A lot of trailers come out. It looks like a really interesting year for gaming. So I want to just go through a few of those. And we don't want this podcast to be entirely movie and TV. We're gonna mix in some gaming as well. So keep it kind of fresh and diverse.
I'm gonna come up with speak a little bit about gaming facts and figures.
You have a pretty interesting article you want to go over, right?
Yes, I do.
Oh, that's okay. We'll get it. We'll get it next time.
Yeah, we will, because it's too in depth to just throw it out there and just not.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
JC, what are we looking forward to next time?
Well, whatever the good internet brings. I'm just kidding. There's a couple more things that I want to go over. Some things that are just rumors and speculations, but I just kind of wanted to throw them out there because there's a lot of people who are running with some strange stories that have no air to them. So, and then also too, I definitely want to talk more about House of Cards.
Yes.
Well, you're not gonna. We're not gonna argue with on that one. We could talk about House of Cards all day, every day.
Yeah, so I'll bring a little bit of that too, and I also kind of want to touch too a little bit on, I guess, the rise of kind of mobile gaming as well too, because I've been seeing some stuff that's looking pretty scary as far as looking pretty close to console quality. So I probably want to touch on that a little bit. So
cool.
I got some facts and figures about that. So yeah, definitely looking forward to that podcast.
Awesome.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. This is Extended Cut.